Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at this Charity State of the City event. I'm Larry Wright, the president of the Taylor Rotary Club. As soon as Mr. Gorgon is finished, we'll get the program. We love Dave Gorgon. Come on. Did he put his finger in front of the camera like usual? He's a great guy. Thank you all for being here. And part of our tradition of a Rotary Club meeting, which you're attending today, is to ring the bell. That wasn't too weak, was it? Okay. One other tradition that our club kind of is noted for, and needs your participation. We're going to ask everyone to please stand and join us in singing "My Country 'Tis of Thee." Thank you. Please be seated. I would like to now ask Pastor Michael Jones from Zion Baptist Church to please lead us in today's invocation.
Bow together with me, please. Gracious God, we ask for wisdom for our mayor and other city leaders as they lead. May they lead in righteousness and in humility, remembering that their leadership is really an act of service. May they remember, and may we citizens remember, that there is swiftly coming a day in which each of us will give an account to the great and righteous judge. Guide our mayor and our city leaders, gracious God, in seeking the common good, in remembering the poor, the outcast, and those who are struggling in these difficult and uncertain times. We ask for protection and also for wisdom, understanding, discernment, and patience for our first responders here in Taylor and in our surrounding communities. And of course, we ask for protection for our troops, both at home and abroad. As your hand of plenty has brought good things to our city, we ask that in your grace you bring even greater peace, greater unity, and greater prosperity to our city in days to come. And may we not fail to thank you for your faithfulness and goodness. In Christ's name I ask these things. Amen. Amen.
That was beautiful. As you look around, you'll notice that the room is full. This is one of the first times we've actually sold out the State of the City address. So congratulations to all of you for joining us and being a part of this. We could not be doing this charity State of the City address without our mayor and his graciousness to allow us to host this. The Taylor Rotary Club has been hosting these going back almost 20 years now. And Mayor Woolley, thank you so much for trusting us with this event. And we greatly appreciate it. Also, I want to thank the Lakes of Taylor, George Sutherland, Wally, Chris, the entire staff for hosting this event here at the Lakes of Taylor. This is a magnificent place to be. If you haven't been here in the last couple of years because of COVID and what have you, you're really missing an opportunity. A beautiful place to be for dinner, for lunch, what have you. Golf outings even, they do a great job in golf. But let's give the Lakes of Taylor, their staff, and everyone else a big round of applause. We also want to thank the Taylor Media Center and the film crew who are parked over here in the corner. We have Joe, we have Samantha, and Carl Zymak. And so I'm going to give you just a half a moment here, this group here, because you're in the camera line. If you want to fix your hair real quick, do it now. You will see this on TV, believe me. They do a great job with the Media Center. Taylor is very, very privileged and lucky to have such a brand new Media Center, by the way. Ron Moran is here. He did a presentation about a month ago on TIFA and the the Eureka Road corridor, and that was filmed by the media crew, and we watch it. Great job, too. Great job. The media crew, and of course, Ron Moran, too. So let's thank them again. So yesterday was a big birthday for Rotary International. Rotary International was formed 117 years ago on February 23rd. And so we did it silently, but we celebrated our anniversary. Rotary, just for some background information, is the oldest service organization in the world. It's one of the largest in the world. There's Rotarians in over 200 countries and territories around the world. And we have 1.2 million members. And in our world, it's all about service above self. I mentioned that this is a charity luncheon because I want to thank all of you for kind of carrying that movement of service above self. By being here today, purchasing a seat, this is a charity fundraiser. So the proceeds from this event, I want to share that with you, where this money is going to go in the community. For instance, we're going to be donating $1,000 from the proceeds to the Taylor Veterans Museum, as they have now moved to a new home and expanded, and we want to make sure that they get the proper facility, and we're very happy to use some of your funds to help the Veterans Museum. We're also donating $500 to the Downriver Foster Closet. How many have heard of the Foster Closet? It's a brand new 501c3. They do amazing things for foster families throughout this region, allowing them to come and get clothes, food items, sports gear for all these foster children who may not be able to afford any of that. And this closet opened up a couple of years ago, and so we're giving $500 to the Foster Closet. We're giving $250 to the Families Against Narcotics. They have a great fundraiser coming up. And Judge Gino and Judge Victoria and others are on that committee. And that fundraiser will be held on April 28th, and you'll hear more about it. But please give them the same support that you've given us today. Also, $1,000 of these proceeds, again, will go to the Wounded America Ride. And we've been doing that now for about 12 years. The Wounded America Ride is a motorcycle ride. We work with Motown Harley-Davidson closely. We work with the Victory Gym, the Downriver for Vets, Foundation 14, and this year we're working with our Mayor Tim, the Mayor from Romulus, Bob McCrate, the Mayor from Dearborn Heights. They're all supporting this Wounded America Ride. And so we get sponsorships, and typically we get sponsorships from a lot of companies, and one of the most generous is here in the room, and I can't help but call them out. And that's Fritz Enterprise, Huron Valley Steel, and in particular, Randy Fritz and the family, the Fritz family, for all they have done. I know he gets a little sheepish and embarrassed when I do this, but no one supports Wounded America Ride more than him and their family. And in the last few years, we've raised $30,000 from this ride, and every penny of it goes to these veteran organizations. So part of your money is going to be going to help support that also, the Wounded America Ride. And we do many, many other things in the city, and I'll talk about them briefly a little bit later. But one of the things that we also do is we partner with a lot of organizations in the city, outside the city. Fish and Loaves, for instance. We have many of our own club members volunteer. They help raise funds and goods and food items for the Fish and Loaves right across the street. We've been very, very active with the Penricton Center for Blind Children, and you have their director, Kurt Siebely from Penricton here. And Rotary and others support Penricton. Penricton is one of the gems of this city, going back into the 50s. And if you ever get an opportunity to go there and take a tour, Kurt would love to have you come and join and see the place. It's amazing. They house these children, blind children with multiple handicaps, and charge the families nothing. They accept no state, federal monies, no insurance monies, nothing. It's all their services are donated. So, great story. We partner with them many, many, many times. And we partner with the Taylor Conservatory Botanical Gardens, helping them. In fact, when Gino was our president, this club donated $50,000 seed money to get that Taylor Conservatory built here in Taylor. And we also are working with the Taylor Goodfellows. What a great organization that's been resurrected, I understand, here in Taylor, and is doing amazing things. So speaking of the Taylor Goodfellows, we have a special recognition. I'd like to invite past District Governor Roberto Sanchez to come and help us with this recognition. Roberto?
Thank you, Larry. Good morning. Every year at this event, the Taylor Rotary Club recognizes an individual or individuals in city government that epitomize the Rotary motto of service above self. We do this by presenting that individual or individuals with our most prestigious Rotary Award. The Paul Harris Recognition Award is named after our founder, Paul Harris, and is presented to an individual that contributes $1,000 or more to the Rotary Foundation to be used for humanitarian endeavors in our communities. Taylor Rotary will make that contribution, or has made that contribution, on behalf of Sarah L. Rafai, Deputy City Clerk, and our recipient this year. Sarah has worked tirelessly with the City of Taylor Goodfellows since 2017 and is totally dedicated to making sure every child and every household is able to celebrate Christmas in the City of Taylor. Aside from her Deputy City Clerk job, she leads the Goodfellows as its current president and primary worker during the entire year, because this is not something that you do in December. She's responsible for collecting food, clothing, gifts, and even organizing the Goodfellow volunteers that we see in our street corners during the Christmas season. If you have ever been a recipient, as I have, of one of these Christmas packages, you know that the Goodfellows are truly angels. So please join me in recognizing our very own Christmas angel, Sarah L. Rafai. Pin that I hope you wear proudly whenever you do your service work. Thank you so much for all you do.
Someone told her she had to give a speech, but that was harder than anything. You're going to hear a lot of great things happening in the city of Taylor in a few moments. But first I'd like to just take a couple moments to talk to you about a couple of cool events coming this spring and summer that are hosted by our Taylor Rotary Club. Show of hands, how many people have ever heard of Touch a Truck? Well, we're bringing it to Taylor on behalf, partnering with Beacon Baptist Church their facility. They're going to give us their facility to use for Touch-A-Truck. And we've already set the date. If you want to put it in your calendar, it's Saturday, June the 18th. You'll hear a lot about Touch-A-Truck coming in the near future. I mentioned the Wounded America Ride, which is one of our premier events that this club hosts. We involve a lot of Rotary clubs in the area to help us do this. And this, of course, is for veterans. That'll be July the 9th. And, Sam, I'm sorry to say, we're going to be hosting the all-police charity softball tournament at Rotary Park, right next to the state police post, the weekend of August 12th through the 14th. So put them on your calendar. This Taylor Rotary Club is very, very active in the community, but we couldn't do it without all of you helping us financially by being here and being a part of this State of the City address. So without any further ado, I'd like to now introduce the other Master of Ceremonies for this event, Mr. Carl Zymak.
Thank you, Larry. We've been doing this this is 9 years, Larry? Yes. Yeah, you can't get rid of me. All right. So, a reminder, if you haven't silenced your phones, please do so, okay, because we've got a lot of speakers going on here. First, I'd like to welcome and recognize some key figures in our community. Let's start with our first 12 elected officials who serve the city of Taylor. If you are in attendance, please stand and be recognized, and if you'd like to save your applause for the end, that would be good. Mayor Tim Woolley, Clerk Cindy Bauer, Treasurer Michelle Tocco, Council Chairman Doug Geis, Chairwoman Pro Tem Jill Brandana, and Council Members Angie Winton, Butch Ramick, Charlie Johnson, Lindsay Rose, and Ira Slave. If you guys would all like to rise, wave to the crowd. Right now, these are truly stand-up officials. No, just joking. All right, our county and state representatives, Commissioner Raymond Basham, State Representative Alex Garza, and State Senator Erica Geis. And our federal representatives, Debbie Dingle, Debbie Stabenow, and Gary Peters. We got to cut many of those people some slack because the governor is meeting with the chamber at the same time. So, what's that? Oh, yeah. We also have, those judges. Okay, I'm sorry. I forgot our judges. I forgot you guys. I'm sorry. So let's start with our two, yes, believe me. And I'm right next to their building. Judge Victoria Shackelford. And Judge Joseph Slavin. Where are you, Joe? All right. So I'm in trouble on that one. Okay. We have some other people that worth mentioning here and need to be recognized. Anthony DeCita, former Judge Anthony DeCita. Tony, can you stand up? Judge Gino Salamone. And I believe Romulus Mayor McCrae is here. Is he here? Couldn't. Oh, okay. He's with the rest of them. Okay. All right. No problem. All right. I'd also like at this time to recognize all city employees. Can you please stand up? We all try to do the best job we can for you. Okay. Before our keynote address, we've got 4 areas that we'd like to highlight. And the first speaker is Taylor's Director of Parks and Recreation, Building and Grounds, and much better known as Gavin the Mullet Man Euland's dad, my favorite second baseman. Guido Euland is going to talk briefly about the importance of parks and recreation to our quality of life. So welcome Guido here.
Humbled to be here. I thank the mayor for asking me to speak. This is quite change from my perspective where I usually get to sit, so bear with me. I'm going to do my best to speak to recreation. We're fortunate in the city of Taylor. The investment that previous and current administration has let us put into recreation is second to none. We've invested well over $1 million in playscapes in the last 10 years, added additional mileage of walking paths. So the ability to be able to do that obviously increases the quality of life and the ability to attract young families, seniors, and everybody in between to the city of Taylor, and that's always the goal. I made these notes, and I just, I gotta speak from the heart, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking for me looking out. I see so many faces I know, and I talk to daily, but yet when you're up here, it is a little bit different. So the mayor has, I do include this picture. I didn't want to over-little league it. I just seen the importance and how this can invoke change. When people believe in something, and a community can rally behind it and feel pride in it, it was just a sense of, change at a time probably when this city really needed it, and it brought that. So that's why I include this picture. And the goal in recreation is to invoke change, to give people options, to constantly listen, understand, and adapt. And when things change, we have basketball, we have baseball, we have inline hockey, but there's more to it than that. There's the quality of life factor. It's a gathering, it's a sense of pride, and it absolutely. To me, the benefits that a great recreational program, parks, buildings, workout facilities, it's just so important for the vitality of a community to be able to exist, to be able to sustain. Schools, public service, DPS, there's no accident that that's the four groups that are speaking today. Those are pillars of the community. Without those, communities are going to struggle to attract good quality people to live in it. And that's what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to give opportunity. Inclusion is so important to me, to make sure that everybody has those opportunities, not just one box. We're going to make everybody fit. You're going to do this activity or this activity. Very important to offer variety and to make sure that people are heard, surveys are taken, meetings are had, and we include everyone to make sure that we're checking all those boxes that I speak of, so everybody benefits from the recreational programs. That's from the senior center down. Seniors, we hear you. We're always trying to constantly improve that center. We're adding trips. Lori Runkle and the team over there, they do a phenomenal job. And we're always listening, and we want to make sure you have the best experience when you visit our facility. Parks, when you come to Heritage Park, that's the one everyone speaks of. And I have to say, it is probably the best park in Wayne County, in the Tri-Counties, I believe. And I'm a big advocate for it. Whether I'm in Pennsylvania, Livonia, Canton at a baseball tournament, I say it's nice, but it's not Heritage Park. But we can't stop there. It has to grow. We put a huge investment into the Northwest Park on the north end of town. We have a great concept that we're going to be bringing forward to Lane Park. And I don't mean to jump on you, Sam, if we could skip over to the investment in community. It's so important you have to look at budgets. You have to be mindful of what you're spending, but you can't cut corners and you can't make recreation about profit. It cannot live there. Your goal is to try to make everything cover the cost of the events, the things that you're doing. But if you start to try to get your way or balance a budget through recreation, you're going to have, it's just never going to work. And it's going to have a backwards effect on what you're trying to accomplish. And I know the administration believes in that, and we know we can do it. We can be mindful. We can be budget conscious. I know Jason appreciates that. And we can make things work within the budgets that we collect through taxes to make things sustainable and affordable for families and people who visit our parks and come to our events. One of the great things that I'm so excited to be working on is this Lane Park project. Working with the county, Commissioner Basham has been very great in the assistance in this. Kamal, the whole team that we're working with on behalf of the county. We have this roughly 40-acre parcel. We want to add activities from disc golf, footsie golf, slackline courses, geo-climbers, outdoor fitness course, BMX pump track, skateboard, everything you can think of that's just not your normal cookie-cutter park, because things evolve, things change. We have to grow with it. Not every kid plays baseball. Not every kid wants to play basketball. They want these different activities. And young families that we want to attract, current families that we want to retain, it's important to do these things. Seniors need places to walk. We are making a huge investment, I apologize. One of the things we're working on currently, this isn't a promise, but it's a future goal, lighting the walking paths, to provide light so people can walk at night. Families, working parents that can't come at 2 p.m. to walk in the daylight. They need to have light around the path. That is a major goal of ours. This Lang Park project, very passionate about it. We're gonna try to make this work. It's in the planning phase. We're working with the county, and we think it's a very viable option that can come to light in the 2023 summer and hopefully be open for use for the public. Again, I appreciate it. The time to speak, very humbled that the mayor had asked me to do so. I look forward to working with the council and the administration and making recreation better for the years to come past our time to make it. We're gonna leave it better than we found it. And I do appreciate you guys, and I apologize if I had a little bit of run on there, a little bit nervous. Thank you.
Good job, Guido, you got nothing to apologize for, you didn't forget the judges. Second on the agenda is Taylor's newest Director of Public Works. He brings decades of experience on every level of the DPW. During the recent heavy snowfalls, we've already seen the influence that he's had on some very important jobs done in a timely manner. Introducing Ralph Richard.
Originally, when I found out that I was included as a guest list to speak, at first I thought, "Why, how did I draw the short straw?" And then actually to go a little further with it, then I started to sit down with Samantha and go over the slides and whatnot. And I found out I'm following Guido Ewan, one of the best speakers I think I've ever met in my life as far as publicly. Not only everybody knows him from the World Series, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So then I happened to go a little further, and I'm actually before the chief. Started looking at his slides. He brilliantly put, at the time I thought it was a 1-minute video, he informed me it's a 1 minute and 51-second video. And I'm like, oh my goodness, so here I am, the new guy, 3 months in, and I've already gotten kind of schooled by my predecessors here. And actually add a little bit more, last night I was actually making notes. Guido's like, well, what are you doing there? Well, I'm making notes, State of City tomorrow. He goes, whoa, I better step up my game, I have nothing. So I walk in here and they're all sitting there with pieces of papers in their hand. They all have notes. Oh my goodness. So, but I had advice from somebody out there who told me, just be yourself. I'm nervous. I'm not a big public speaker, but just be yourself. And for those people who do know me, I find humor in everything. That's my motivated goal. Is I always stay loose and I portray that to everybody else. Not everything is so serious in life. I mean, I know we do our darndest, and as long as you put your best foot forward, and to me that's satisfaction. If it isn't good enough, at least I knew I did my best, and that's what I've been instilling here and bringing back to the DPW and in the employees. As long as you try your hardest, that's all you can do. You make a mistake, you learn from your mistake. That's what mistakes are for. That's what you find out what you're about, is when you make a mistake and how you recoup from it. So, as far as is going through as far as the DPW, 15 years ago I was actually the general foreman. I was actually under Jim Boardman. Some of you know the story, but by far the greatest director we'll ever see here. I joke with my secretary Casey that my goal is to be the second best director ever, because if I can be the half of the director that he was, that's good enough. So a lot of the visions that I put forward, I always say to myself, what would Jim do? And he was my first phone call when I became director, and he's influenced me a lot. He took me under his wing years ago, along with Gene Smith, Madam Clerk Cindy Bauer, Laney Hall. We got to share his wisdom. When he realized that the end of his road was coming. So a lot of what I do is basically because of him. So we are changing some of the directions, and let me get into DPW. That's what we're really here to see. We're going to continue with the good to great. It's something that I kind of was he and hawing about. I'm more about want service for everybody. You know what I mean? Good to great. We focus on an area, but there definitely is some goods to it. We can focus, work a little harder in certain areas in the good to great. So that that's going to continue. I kind of talked to my staff, how we're going to handle this. What shortfalls did we see in that? Because they're the boots on the ground. They know sometimes better than us what's best. And a lot of it was a lot of them they were stumbling upon each other and they were getting in each other's way. So you know, good to great, we may start in 2 sections instead of just one defined section, so we can have staff in both areas, and then basically we'll switch back and forth, you know. Going through it all, you know, here's a lot of it, we spent $1.5 million in concrete and asphalt within the subdivisions. You know, that's a large amount of money, and got a lot of roads fixed. The free mulch, a lot of people don't even realize that we give away the free mulch. Actually, even at the council site, if you wanna shovel your truck, it's free. So, we had strategic locations within the good to greats where people can go help themselves for free mulch. Sweeping, 532 miles of it. That's one thing that I'm changing differently. We are bringing back sweeping as a regular rotational basis. So every 3rd week, residents should see a sweeper going by the front of their house. You know, it was more of a put out a fire kind of method before. Where this time, you know, with like I said with Jim, we're gonna be sweeping the streets as a continual basis. The same with everything else, as you can see there. When we get into the neighborhoods, the big thing we had was there was a rubbish contractor change. You know, we're not going to get into a whole lot of specifics of it, but the one thing I hear a lot of is everybody, compliments them. But we're actually getting more compliments than we are complaints. And in the public service realm, that is actually a pretty rare thing, to be honest with you. Usually, you know, we deal with putting out fires, we deal with the complaints, but you know, as this new company priority goes along, they're doing a phenomenal job. They're really focused on customer service. You know, if people do have a minor complaint, they're Johnny on the spot, and they take care of it. So, like Carl said, with snow plowing, you know, it's just, you know, it was funny. My deputy director actually told me that, you know, it's different. I'm his 3rd director, and he said it's amazing that you wouldn't think that plowing streets or doing salt could be that entailed as far as how each one does it different. You know, it's really not rocket science, but he just, you know, you can tell the difference. Each person has a different style how to do it, and I think our biggest style that we kind of brought is promptness. I think in the past it's kind of been delayed, and then, you know, services get behind, and so we've kind of implemented this as far as, you know, we're going to be Johnny on the spot. You know, we're going to get on as soon as we can, and the sooner we're there, the sooner it's better, and then the better it looks. And from what I'm hearing, everybody's, you know, happy that we're, you know, beating the county again, because for a while there, the county was ahead of us, but we're back ahead of you again. Another thing, actually, what I had was, I don't know if anybody lives on a dead end here, but I have actually now implemented a dead end brigade. We have trucks that are just, as soon as the last snowflake falls, I have trucks going into dead ends. I've always felt that they've kind of been, you know, put on the back burner. So we have a brigade, that's what I call them. They go in, and some of the dead ends are done before some of our majors. The last snowfall, we were in a dead end before Pardee Road was done. But that's the model I'm going, and that's what we're doing. Basically, you know, what would turn in a lot of the projects into daily tasks, which would be street sweeping. You know, our ditch crew was always more of a put out a fire thing. That's another thing we're going to bring back. We're going to actually get into ditch skimming and maintenance. Tree trimming, sign upkeep. The tree trimming, actually, we lost a tree crew there for a short term, where now we have actually hired, and we now have tree trimming and tree cutting back in-house. So, you know, we basically eliminated, as far as, you know, contractors doing that part of it. We're also going to tackle, you know, a lot of the ordinance cuts and cleanups. We're going to take that on in-house, of course, with approval from council when they see the budget, but as long as they give me the employees. But I'm going to be going up for employees. You give me the employees, I'm going to put them to work. You know, ultimately, they're the financial approval of anything we do. And another thing we're getting into is a new machinery. Here, this is what I'm proud of, and I'm sure hope they pass it. But this is a vehicle that's actually designed. It's called a swap loader, and it's actually designed to, you know, this here is a salter. It's actually removable. It's it's a hook system, and it's driven by hydraulics, where I can actually change the bed of the truck. I can actually put a 3-yard dump truck on there. I can actually put a chipper box on this. So one piece of equipment actually can utilize, 5 or 6 different things. So I can buy a truck, and it's basically services 6 different things. Another one is, I just found the other day, actually was a boom truck. So, this is the type of things that I'm looking to go through in the future. Be more efficient on how we do things, more financial viable, and that's another thing Jason loves to hear. He don't like when we come to him for money, but he does a great job at what he does. And as far as, what we plan to do here in the future, we're gonna do our darndest to provide everybody the best service available, and hope we make everybody proud, and hopefully, we'll keep moving this city onward and upward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Our next speaker is Police Chief John Blair, longtime member of the force. He started his career with the department in 1991. He's worked various assignments, supervisory and command posts, focusing on all the variety of law enforcement that goes on with the Taylor PD. The chief is going to discuss new technology being implemented in the department. Come on up here, John.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to echo Guido's sentiments. For 30 plus years I've been coming to these, and I've never had to stand in front of people. So this is a different experience. And I thank Mayor Willie there for bringing us out. So, but we will talk about technology, and judges, don't worry, I have your back. We have some boys in blue back there waiting for Carl. And I won't forget you guys. So primarily I'm going to talk about Axon, which is our computer system that we're bringing in. Graciously, the city has allotted us $2.8 million over the next 10 years to run this system. And I won't go into detail about each one of the components, but I can give you a brief, in a nutshell, what they are. Our first one, Axon Standards, allows us to track policies for our officers, track any type of complaints that are made against them. We have Axon Records Management System, which allows our officers to more accurately capture what's happening on the road. Our body cameras that our officers wear actually will pick up the talk of someone they're speaking with and turn it into text, enhancing the transparency of actually what's going on when we have our encounters with people. An incredible system. Axon also has a CAD system, which is our computer-aided dispatch. They have another thing called Axon Aware, which allows our supervisors to check and see what our officers are doing at a moment's notice. Live streams right back to us. The final one, I'm going to have Sam pop this quick video on, is called Axon Citizen. back to when I came on in 1991, and I think about no internet. I think about bag phones, pagers. Things have definitely changed, and this is a game changer for all of us. We have, in the past, had our citizen watch groups, Taylor and Watch, and I know we felt a little bit of disappointment when we disbanded them. Well, this is the wave of the future. There is no longer a problem with coordination. This is a 24/7, 365 operation. You can reach out to us at any time. If you want to remain anonymous, you can do that as well. This is the wave of the future, and this is because of the support we receive from Mayor Woolley, City Council, all the other departments in the city. None of this is possible without everyone. Human Resources, IT, my buddy Richard Miller over at Purchasing, great guy. IT helps us out tremendously. We've got a great relationship going on with Ryan now, and we see nothing but progress with this. So we believe that this is going to be the 21st century policing that all of you are looking for. This is the transparency that we all need and that everyone has been speaking to. So just a couple of other quick notes about some of the programs we're running currently. I don't know if you're aware, but we do have a drone program. We have 6 officers that are out there that can deploy drones at any time. That's a really valuable thing to assist us in possibly recovering a missing juvenile. Any type of crime scene that needs to be mapped out, we can handle all that stuff with our drones. We also have had a nation that's gone through the scourge of addiction, and we have 2 programs, our Hope Not Handcuffs and our Quick Response Team that have been deployed to assist with these people that are suffering to get them into treatment. Very, very valuable program. We also worked recently with SEMCOG to have an expungement seminar where our officers went out, fingerprinted people that were arrested and charged with nonviolent crimes to get them off their records. That was a huge success with that. I won't steal any of the thunder of Superintendent Mills. He's going to talk to you about the Smart Boot system, but we're working with them to enhance the safety of your children in your schools here. We also have a Citizens Police Academy coming up this summer. I asked that you guys take a look at our website for release information on that, as well as an open house in 2020. Again, thank you to everyone that's in here, not just the mayor and city council, the judges, all the department heads, and the citizens. Without you, none of this is possible. So thank you very much, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you, John. Mayor Woolley, I don't know whether you noticed this or not, but all 3 of these guys are doing an awful lot of schmoozing with the Budget and Finance Department. There you go. Our final speaker before the mayor comes up is going to be Griff Mills, the school superintendent. Griff joined the district in 2020, and he's been one busy guy. He's helped guide the system through a pandemic, and last fall helped engineer the district's first successful major building bond drive in over a half-century. That plan was will not only build a brand new high school in Taylor on the Kennedy site, but will make important upgrades across the board, across every school in the district. Welcome, Griff.
It's an honor. First thing is, Mayor, could you introduce me to that person I need to ask for money? Gotcha. You guys, it's an honor, humbly, to stand here in front of you as the superintendent of Taylor Schools. I've been here 15 months, and I was just invited to come get a lunch. I didn't really realize I was going to have to get up and talk for a lot of time here, but it's an honor to be here. Again, my name is Griff Mills, and I've been here for about 15 months. Just want to show you just kind of an overview of what I can talk a little bit about here for the next 4 or 5 minutes. A little bit about our district, about the bond, about something that Chief Blair mentioned already, was the Smart Boot system. Special Olympics Day, maybe a few challenges that we've all experienced at some point, then a few miscellaneous things. So first thing, just an overview of Taylor Schools. We have 14 schools. We have 1 high school. We have 2 middle schools, 8 elementary schools, 1 preschool. You're wondering, what's TVLA? That's our Taylor Virtual Learning Academy. We have over 800 kids in that right now, and that's something that's really grown through the pandemic. Then our CTE, our Career and Technical Education Center. where welding and a lot of different programs take place, and something we're looking to really expand on. I would be remiss not to point out on the next slide, just a wonderful group of people. These are my bosses. I've learned from these guys. You talked about smoozing and all that. These are my 7 board members, and I think everyone understands the value of a team. And these are my 7 board members. I've got a few of them here today. I also have my cabinet, a couple of my assistant superintendents, my CFO, and our HR director. If you guys don't mind, board members and cabinet, will you guys stand up? Let's give them a round of applause. Okay. Next thing, the bond. First off, let's talk quickly about 2016. The community voted in a 5-year bond for us where it raised about $5.9 million. And we've used it, a lot of it was used before I got here, just on patchwork, to be honest with you. Fixing roofs, windows, buying some buses, some different things along those lines. And so we had just a little bit of money left. And so we just decided, let's do some things that people can see. Our football scoreboard's been there since like 1970. So we put a new scoreboard in. Our track is not usable right now. So we're looking to make an adjustment and put a new track in over at the high school. Just really, and you can see the list, but just upgrading some things that are about kids that we can do. So we appreciate that, and that's how the rest of that money is going to be spent. On the next slide, November 2nd, thank you. You guys helped vote in, you guys said yes to really investing in the schools. And that's something that has been needed for a long time, and I think everybody realizes that. So we're excited about that. Just some highlights, every elementary will get new playground equipment. Every classroom in the district will get new furniture in it. We are going to be working on our security cameras and different things along those lines with technology. There'll be some upgrades to the current high school, which tentatively right now we're thinking that will be a middle school, and we'll bring all of our middle school kids together in terms of that. And then obviously kind of the exciting things, the new high school and the new CTE building. I was an economics major, and what I've learned a lot about a bond, there are a lot of variables that go into making this happen. So we have partnered, on the next slide you'll see, we've partnered with Plant Moran. They're an owner's rep. Anytime you have something as big as this, $130 million bond, you want some experts to come in. So they're really guiding us and giving us some coaching advice. I've learned a lot. I've learned about inflationary costs. Supplies right now cost about 30% more. So if you do the math real quick, $100 million, 30% of that, that's about $30 million. So, we're looking at some different things and trying to adjust and do some things in terms of budget. I've learned about labor supply shortages. I've learned about some of the different resources where the supply chain has been interrupted. So they're helping us to guide through a really challenging time, but you have no idea how we welcome the opportunity to give the community the best product that we can give. Something Chief Blair mentioned, it's called the boot system, and just kind of highlighting a few things, the bond, this. So this is basically a security communication lockdown system. We are the first school district in Wayne County to commit to doing this, and I think it's nice to lead once in a while, to be honest with you. But lead in ways like this, taking care of our kids and our staff, making sure that they're safe. And this is one of the things that we have invested in. Thank you to the board for investing in our kids and our staff, keeping them safe. Real quick, what it is, basically it's a device you take out of a sleeve, like you see on the left-hand side here, and you slide it into your door. You shut your door, put it in, and it's secure. Nobody can get in and out, or the wrong people can't get in and out. I should say more specifically. So it keeps our kids safe if we ever have to go into a lockdown. We all know, I won't even speak much about it, but what happened in several places, Columbine, Parkland, Oxford, that sent a chill through everybody. So this is just one way that we can help respond appropriately if we ever, God forbid, ever had to go through anything like that. The other piece that really sold me on this was the communications piece. And Chief Blair was part of the first introduction that we did with this. I wanted his expertise and Chief Portis and some different people. But we all came away really impressed, not just because you can secure a door, but the level of communication. Every one of our teachers will have an iPad, like I have up here right now. If there's an issue in a classroom, they just hit the button. Everybody in that building knows teacher needs assistance in that room. It could be a medical issue that they need some help with. It could be a student that's having a bad moment. But everybody knows that until somebody pushes the button who's responding to it. So just the level of communication. When that sleeve is pulled out and put into the door, it activates a system. There's lights, there's sounds in all of our buildings, and Chief Blair and his guys are notified immediately. We'll still call 911 and do all those things, but they're notified immediately. So that communications piece is incredible. One last thing, let's say there's a high-speed chase going by one of our buildings. The police can initiate a lockdown for us, just in case there's a crash and people come into the schools. So it's amazing, and we're thankful that we can do this and keep our people safe. On the next slide, it's something that's dear to my heart. I was in a different district for 16 years and was always involved in a Special Olympics Day. And so we're taking that and we're bringing it here. On May 20th, we'll have about 300 of our kids, special needs students, that we're just going to put on an unbelievable event. They'll get to participate in different events, running, throwing softballs, different events, and we're going to celebrate them. Every one of our students are important to us, and this is just one way that we can celebrate it. If you have any interest in coming and watching, or financial donation, or an in product kind, please just reach out to us. Where I came from, we had a dairy farmer, or a dairy that basically donated ice cream to the kids, and they love that. So this is another thing we're really excited about. And then lastly, challenges that we've all faced, and I won't go into all this, but COVID has been a challenge on every level for everybody. Other challenges, staffing shortages, as I mentioned. Every industry's faced that, as we know. You go to a restaurant, and first thing they say is, please be patient with us. We're short of staff. And then I'll just mention this, the threats. After Oxford, there were so many copycat threats all across the state, and we've had our share as well. The one thing I promise you is we'll take every one of them serious. It is not convenient to put your school into a lockdown and to do those things, but we're not going to worry about convenience all the time. We're going to worry about keeping our kids safe. So I want to thank Chief Blair and our police department. They are fantastic, and they have been so responsive in helping to be protective of our kids and our staff as well. Miscellaneous things. Next 4 slides, and you can just kind of fan through these, but slowly. But a lot of things we've gotten done, as you can kind of see some of the different lists. A lot of things we've gotten done over the last 15 months. A couple other things I would highlight. One thing is our ALICE training. That's an active shooter training. Every staff member in our district now has been trained in that. Every building in our district has been trained in that. Something else I would highlight is we now are gaining partnerships. I want every one of our school districts to have a faith-based partnership. Our churches and our faith-based programs in this community are so giving, and I want everybody to get to experience that. And then the last thing is one of the things we hired, and Carl I think appreciates this as well, we have a communications person. I mean, we have someone for our district that is really focused on getting things out to our families and to the community. And it's something that we've done and we're really proud of. Lastly, before I step down here and actually get some lunch, not quite, you're right. But the last thing on the next slide, you guys, basically, one more slide. Perfect. That's the reason we're here. That's the reason that Taylor Schools is here. And we talk about the boot system, we talk about different things. I just want to remind everybody, this is what brings us to work every day. This is what we get to do, is take care of our kids, educate them, provide them a safe and supportive environment. So, thank you. And again, it's an honor to be here today.
All right, thank you, Griff. Gentlemen, that was very informative. And now, once I get past these screens, I can set this up for the mayor. Hang on for 1 minute. There we go. All right. That was very informative, gentlemen. Thank you for contributing to the State of the City presentation. Now for our featured speaker. A decade ago, city council and municipal government might as well have been the moon for Tim Woolley, who grew up in the northwest corner of the city and graduated from Taylor Center High School. It was there where he met his wife, Amy. Hi, Amy. See, you don't get to avoid this stuff. They were living happily with their 2 children, Dylan and Sarah. But like many others before him, Tim started following council meetings, liked some things, not other things, and decided to campaign for office. He won a seat on his first try. Eventually, he was re-elected and moved up to the council chair position. Last fall, Tim became the 8th man in the history of the city to be elected mayor. With Mayor Woolley, what you see is what you get. He's a former forward observer for field artillery in 2 different Middle Eastern military campaigns. He's also a former Teamster who has negotiated on both sides of the table. Above all, he's a very good listener. He's a genuine person who wants to spend your tax dollars wisely so that we serve you best. Tim, come on up here.
I just want to thank a few people. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming, help raise money for so many different causes. I especially want to thank the Rotary. You do so much good for our city. And as a resident of the city, I thank you for everything you do for the city of Taylor. But I also want to thank you for adding the Veterans Museum to the list of the charities that you're giving to. But I also, as a veteran, I appreciate everything you guys do on behalf of veterans. I don't speak on behalf of all veterans, but I'm thanking you on behalf of all of them. And actually, my TAC here is the 2nd Armored Division, which is the division I served in while I was in the United States Army. So, okay, a couple things we want to talk about today is I want to talk about transparency. Okay, this was something that's been discussed, especially recently. When you're still in having discussions with council and your team, you have to be cautious about what you say. Timing is everything. I can tell you that over the last few weeks, probably a couple months, we have been sitting down having discussions with our corporate counsel, Ed Plato, my chief of staff, Dan Mazura, Jason Couture, and we've included Michelle and Tierra in a lot of these discussions. So some of the things we want to do to start making it a little more open for people to see is we're going to digital city council meeting support packets published on our website. So a lot of times people, when they get the agenda, they don't see the backup. There's a lot of things we have to be cautious about doing that, because in that backup there's a lot of personal information depending on what that agenda item is. So we've been meeting with Granicus to go through a system to where we can put quite a few stop checks in place to make sure that private information isn't dispersed to the public. So that's one of the things we wanted to put out there. We wanted to allow people to start seeing this stuff. They could FOIA it afterwards, but to me, at the end of the day, it just makes everything a little easier. But we just have to, we're gonna work with our directors, anybody that adds agenda items, there's things we can go in and actually click to remove that piece, because sometimes grants and stuff has bank information, social security numbers, private information that we just don't want to put out. So there's a few steps we have to put in place to continue to do that. I think we're going to try to do a trial run here probably in the next month or so, but we're still having those communications to make sure we can do everything properly before we go ahead and do it. A couple other things we were talking about, council's been discussing it. We're going to try to start televising the study sessions. I tell people all the time that, people say, well, I try to make the council meetings as much as I can. To me, the good stuff is at study session. I used to tell everybody that's where you really get to see your elected officials, do their thing. That's where the arguing, the talking, the discussing, everything usually happens at those study sessions. So we're working with Carl and his team to try to get those on TV as much as possible too. Special meetings, we're still trying to discuss, if we're going to be able to do every meeting, like planning, zoning, all that. But right now we're going to focus on council meetings. So another thing we're looking at is we have been working on a new donation policy. and guidelines for the city. One of the things when we took office, we wanted to go through certain things and make sure we're doing them properly. So a lot of people donate things to the city of Taylor, which is great, we encourage it. But now we want an actual log. We want to be able to have a list of the company, what they donated it, what it was for, and so we're really focusing on that, and that helps with transparency as well. That way people, if they want, they can know who's giving the city money, you know, what they're donating it for. So that's one of the things. And also, in those talks, we've also been, you know, we've learned some things over the last few months that we needed to update in our ethics policy, our ethics ordinance. So we're discussing, we got some things that we're going to be bringing forward to council regarding ethics, and so that's another thing we're going to be bringing forward as well. So, like I said, I always say so I apologize for that. I just want to make something clear, and I shouldn't say clear, but I just want everyone to know that this administration has nothing to hide, and it never will. Transparency seems to be a very popular word these days, no matter what TV channel you're watching and all that other stuff. I literally have nothing to hide. So if you have questions, it doesn't mean that you may not like how I do something, the timing of how I do something, but I have nothing to hide. I've said it many times before. I'm just a resident of this city that's trying to do the best. And I will continue to do that. So that's one of the biggest things that I wanted to put out there, because transparency seems to be a very big word used a lot nowadays. So I just wanted everybody to know that me and my team have nothing to hide, and we never will. There's some things we can't talk about until it's been finalized and stuff like that. So there is a, you know, there is, with this job and even on council, there's certain things you just can't talk about until it's either voted in or discussed all the way. But other than that, I got nothing to hide. I really don't. So. So one of the big messages that I've wanted to kind of, you know, put out there since I've walked in is teamwork. I use the word Team Taylor all the time. We have incredible employees. We really do. And all those that are here and all those that are not here, I thank you. I really do. As a resident of this city, now becoming the mayor, I even see more, you know, this is my full-time job now. And I see the jobs that our employees do, and they do it well. They do it very well. Doesn't mean they like everything I do, you know, or everything I have to implement or something, but they come to work and they work hard. And I can't tell them how much I appreciate that, I really do. And I think the residents of the city really appreciate that as well. And that's all departments, all employees. And, you know, even though they're not employees, I don't want to forget our auxiliary police, because here are non-employees that don't get paid and just volunteer to help keep the city of Taylor safe. And a lot of them don't even live here. So that's just another great, you know, a great thing. And as you can see, I want to create a positive environment. I want us to be professional, but I want a relaxed atmosphere. You know, these guys here, I appreciate them, and if you could have seen their face when I said, hey, I'd like to include you guys in the discussion. What? You want me to do what? But I could come up here and talk for an hour and kind of hit on some things, but they're the ones doing the job. So it's better to hear it directly from them. And we have so many other great directors. This is just a few. And I appreciate everything they do and everybody underneath them. So I do feel like that team thing is starting to, you know, infiltrate the city of Taylor, and I'm happy about that. And they know, any employee, anybody, the resident in the city of Taylor knows that if they have a problem or if they want to talk to me, I'm approachable. I tell everybody, call me. I might not be able to answer the phone at that moment, but I will definitely get back with you. So, you know, our employees do such a great job, and I just want to recognize them again for everything they do for the residents of the city of Taylor. I really appreciate that. One of the things we're suffering with Griff talking about it as well is our staffing. You know, we have first responder vacancies, which is, you know, that can be a hindrance, you know, but to Chief Blair's credit and his staff and Chief Portis, we're working hard and we're getting more and more people starting to filter in, which is great. And the city very much appreciates that and welcomes it. And we're experiencing that at all levels. We have a lot of available jobs that are available. Sheila and her crew, I give her credit, they had a job fair last night, and I went in there towards the end, and we had quite a few people, a lot more than what we've had in previous years, so that was good. So we're always looking for good teammates, so if you know anybody, go on our Taylor website and come join our team. The other thing we want to talk about is external communication. You know, everybody wins when we communicate. The more people are able to talk to one another, know and the left hand knows what the right hand's doing, that makes things so much easier. And we also want to communicate with our businesses. We have the Southwestern Chamber of Commerce, and we also have the new Taylor Business Association. It's a two-tier approach, but it's allowing business owners to communicate with my administration and even directors in the city and employees. The Taylor Business Association is having, what do you call them, like seminars every couple months, and it gives the opportunity for business owners in the city to mingle with people that work for the city and casually ask questions. So I think that's a good approach, and I think a business owner, instead of walking into City Hall, can come to an event like that and find Laura, our Director of Planning, and have a discussion with her or somebody else that's there. We're going to try to stagger different employees there, and that makes it easier. We want to communicate with our residents. I have implemented an open door since I've taken office. We're getting ready to announce a couple days a month. I'm going to have meet with the mayor. I'm going to leave blocks of time where residents can come in and talk with me. I tell anybody that when they come to City Hall and they want to talk to the mayor, it doesn't hurt to ask, because I've shocked a few people. Kimber and Michelle knows that if my office is open and I'm actually not in a meeting, I will be more than happy to speak to any resident, and I have. And a lot of times it's like, I can't believe you're talking with me. Well, why wouldn't I? I'm happy to. I represent you, and it was just perfect timing. You came in when I actually had some time, So I think that's really nice, and it gives the people the opportunity to at least make them feel like they're being heard, and that's what a lot of people want. So that's what I want to focus on, moving forward, and we're going to get those days out, days and times, and we'll just schedule half-an-hour blocks for anyone in the city that wants to sit down and talk with me. I'm going to try to start doing some, in the city coffee hour type things, and that gives the opportunity. I'm sorry, I keep smacking the side of this thing, so I know it's probably driving people crazy. But moving on to finances. ARPA funds are definitely a nice thing to be receiving. We did receive approximately $11 million. Our goal is to keep that towards one-time purchases, like equipment, as Ralph keeps begging for back here. But there's also, we've learned some new dynamics to that, and we may be able to use that helping fill some slots of workers, which adding more, I think, would be a better opportunity to show the residents that we're out there doing the things that they want us to do. Because as I touched on before, during the campaign, I knocked a lot of doors, and a lot of residents, including myself, they want their streets swept. They want this change at the garbage has been huge. A lot of people are very happy with that. I was on council when that was coming down, and I think all of my colleagues on council, we all realized that something needed to be done, and kudos to the previous administration. We got the ball rolling. We were able to get a company in here, and they've done a very good job. Like Ralph said, I've received so many compliments, I should say, and there's been one or two. Of course, they're going to miss your garbage once in a while. That's just nature of the beast, but as a whole, everybody seems to be very, very happy with that. And speaking of what was good is locking in the current costs. So the good thing is one of the reasons I brought priority forward to it for a 2-year extension, they decided that they were going to keep their cost at what they are now. And that's huge, because everything is going up right now. It's almost scary. Everything is going up. road projects that we were looking at planning and stuff, they've all went up in price. So now we're not getting as much road for the money as we normally did. So we're trying to work with our current vendors and reach out to say, hey, you know, you're available for an extension, are you willing to keep your costs? So if we're able to get that, then that's gonna keep us, because that helps us budget-wise as well. It keeps us on the right track, and knowing that what we originally wanted, it's gonna stay at that rate. So that's another thing we wanna try to do. But, you know, if that has to go in front of council, and if council approves that, if not, we bid it out, and we get somebody to do something else as well, so. The other thing I wanted to touch on is business development. Things seem to be going really well. I know Laura could talk about that as well. We have a lot of businesses that are interested in coming into Taylor right now, so I'm very happy about that. UniFirst has a very large project going up, it's either Goddard or North Line Road, I'm not positive. I know it's over there by Holland. I think it's in Charlie's backyard now that I think of it. So Charlie's gonna get a new neighbor, but a really nice facility, a very large facility. They're currently over on Monroe Street, and they're building a new facility. They were in the old R.L. Polk, if people remember that building from the old days. CMAC is making an investment in the city of Taylor, a trucking company, a veteran-owned trucking company. I've met the owner a few times at veteran organizations, very, very helpful towards veterans. And I know a few people that work for that company, and they really enjoy it, and we're very happy that they're moving to Taylor. Bigby Coffee is relocating. They bought the old Taylor Cafe right by our Taylor Rec Center, and they're gonna add on to it, but it'll basically be a new building, I think with a drive-through as well. So they'll be moving off that corner to where they can get the drive-through approval. I don't know if that's been approved yet, so I don't wanna overstep my bounds. I'm looking for Laura to see if she's shaking her. Okay, she's giving me the yes, so we'll have a drive-through. If I start going like this, that means shut up, Tim, you're talking about. Another thing we're excited about is we have Buffalo Wild Wings. They're looking at a new express-style restaurant. It'll basically be a to-go or a drive-through situation on Telegraph. They're looking at 2 locations, and I think they've purchased both. So maybe something else will go on the other one. Kudos is a new business over by the mall. It's kind of an adult playground. They have the bag toss, cornhole. They have axe throwing, and they have like street vendor food there. You can get they serve alcohol, but I think there's restrictions with the axe throwing and the alcohol drinking and stuff. You know, but I did tour the facility about a month ago. They were still there, they're still, but it's, I used to frequent that building at Gander Mountain. And going in there and seeing it as open as it is, I didn't realize how large of a building that is, and it's really cool. So I think they're hoping to open the middle to late next month. So if anybody gets the opportunity, you want to go over there and check that out. It's a really neat idea, and like I said, I think it's become more of a playground for adults, which is always nice. Excuse me, my throat dries out. This is water, not vodka, by the way. So the Taylor Summer Festival, we're happy to announce we're returning on June 23rd through 26th. It got pushed back a couple weeks last year, so we're going back to our original date. Friday night is Rock Night, so Stephen Piercy, the voice of Rat, will be the headliner, and Slaughter will be the opening band. I can honestly say that I saw Rat in the mid-'80s. They put on a very good show. And I saw Slaughter open up for Poison when I was in the Army down in Texas, and they also put on a good show. So just real quick, I want to make sure, Carl, can I discuss the other? Okay, we can't officially announce it yet, but Saturday, the fireworks night is going to be country music night. Dylan Scott will be the headliner. I don't listen to country music, so I have no idea who he is, but I'm going to start Googling him and seeing what he sings. And then there's a couple other opening bands, smaller bands, Family Tradition, and the Cody Boggs Band. So if you like country music, Saturday will be your night. If you like 80s hair band, Friday will be your night. So Friday will be my night, but I will be there Saturday as well. So, Maybe I can grow the mullet back by then. Although Guido's son blows mine away from back in the day. So tickets are on sale on that website. The other great thing that's happening this year is Taylor's going to be 175 years old. Taylor Township was named after a Mexican war hero, Zachary Taylor. The Taylor Historical Society, who's in the back there, I see Carolyn and Sherry, is planning various events to celebrate Taylor throughout the year. So I know we're definitely going to include that during our festival weekend as well. So 175 years, that's kind of cool. We've been around a long time, and so there's some really nice events that's going to be put out there, put on by the Taylor Historical Society. So as you see, I kind of wanted to be a little quick today. I haven't been in office that long. I think things are going well. It's definitely a crazy schedule, but I'm okay with crazy. I'm used to it, you know. I think at the end of the day, we're putting in the hours, listening to residents, continue to move this city forward, and that's what I want. I want progression. And Ralph kind of touched on it, you know, I want to leave it better than when I came in, and that's all I want to do. I've lived here my entire life. As Carl said, I grew up in the northwest corner of the city of Taylor, and this is my forever home. I love my city, I really do. And the last thing I want to do is do anything to hurt it. So my goal is to continue to just come in and work hard and give it everything I got, and I feel like I've been doing that. And there's some tough days, don't get me wrong. You know, there's some tough days, but I knew that would be the case. And you know what, I can handle that. I can weather those storms. I want to lead into a few thank yous saying that. My Chief of Staff, Dan Mazzura, my right-hand man. I can bounce anything off him. We usually, if we're not in meetings together all day, usually about 5:30, 6 o'clock, we sit down and discuss the day for another hour or two. So there's long days, but Danny does a phenomenal job, and I can't tell him how much I appreciate him. I couldn't pick a better individual, and I knew that. So I give myself a little credit for that, because he was one of the main decisions that whether I ran or not. So I want to thank him. I want to thank Kimber and Michelle. All these beautiful centerpieces and everything on these tables, when I walked in here, I went, wow. You know, shows you where my head went. Michelle showed me the little candle on there with the Taylor emblem. I thought it was a shot glass. And when I got here, they had candles in them. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. You know, I thought we were going to give them out as party favors or something. So I want to thank both you guys for all the hard work, and Carl and Sam and Bill back there, everything for them. And again, you know, the employees. I want to thank my wife. You know, I've been gone a lot. She's probably happy I got this job, because we don't see each other that much, but she's been very supportive of me, and you know, she asks me every day how to go, and I think she gets nervous sometimes because she'll say, like, how was your day? And I'm like, it was a rough one. Well, do you still like it? Do you everything? You know, it's like, Amy, I'm not quitting. I just had a rough day. You know? My kids have been very supportive. They had to work and go to school today. They couldn't be here. My dad called me last night. I thought he was calling to wish me well, but he was just making sure that I don't forget to pick him up from Florida tonight when he flies home. So, thanks, Dad, for the support, you know. So, but yeah, he wishes he could have been here. I know he does. And but again, I want to thank Rotary for everything you do. I want to thank everybody that came here today to support these causes. Hopefully, you know, see you again next year. That's the plan. I want to do these every year because I think they're a great opportunity to raise funds for people that need. And it's so nice to see so many faces in here. And again, I respect every one of you, and I thank you for coming tonight, and I appreciate it. Have a nice night.
Wow, what a great presentation. The one thing I didn't hear in this presentation, when is Chick-fil-A coming to Taylor? Then you know you're on the map when you have Chick-fil-A. They're working on it. They have a special committee just for Chick-fil-A. I'm glad that he had a chance to mention the Taylor Business Alliance, which is a new project that our Rotary Club has started because we realized, Keith Lehman in particular, if you know Keith, was the brainchild behind the Taylor Business Alliance. And what he noticed is a lot of businesses aren't really connected to the city without them knocking on the door of City Hall and so on. So the Business Alliance is a way of businesses coming together on a quarterly basis. And we say we're connecting business to the community and to each other so we can do good things in the community. And the next meeting will be here at the Lakes of Taylor, by the way, on April the 20th. That evening is the next meeting. And you're also going to hear a bit about the Faith in Blue project that's been started, I know, in Brownstown, and it's actually been used here in the city. But it's connecting the police to our churches and our faith-based organizations in a real positive way that helps change the message and dynamics of what the police do and how important those first responders are to our community. So please come April the 20th, you'll get more information on it. I'm going to thank the people from the Alliance, some of our members already who are here. We have 3 tables in the room of Taylor Business Alliance, so I thank them for being here. I've heard it said that the only thing standing between you and lunch is me. So I'm going to make this short, and I understand that this is a buffet, a beautiful buffet luncheon, by the way. And Wally, would you or someone like to come up and describe how you want the people to get in line, or you want to go by table? Huh? You're going to call them by table? Okay. So please stay in your seats until they call your table, please, because it's kind of a tight space back there. But you're in for a great treat. It's going to be a wonderful lunch. And again, thank you all for being a part of this great charity State of the City address. And I end by saying, bon appetit. Thank you, folks, for being here.